Hi there, welcome back. My name is John and we're going to take a look at the 1,800 square foot spec home that we've got here. So if we take a look at our zero home, as we've coined it, that's just a working term. We don't really have a necessary name for it. We kind of just label it as the 1,800 square foot. Let's just take a look at the first floor plan here. We have a few different sections: our entry, kitchen, living, dining, as well as our main bedroom and bathroom space. All of this is right below our second story, which is more bedrooms, some other storage here. Can kind of give you a look at that. We have bedroom, bedroom, bedroom with a centralized bathroom that is right above that first floor, keeping everything super centralized, really easy to work on, and as well as a laundry / office space, kind of whatever you want to make it. These spec homes offer the opportunity for you to customize them. We have a very similar floor plan to this as far as the 1,600 square foot, just reducing this down a little bit, getting rid of some of the extra space. So instead of the 3 bedrooms upstairs with the laundry office, that option only has 2 bedrooms with the laundry office kind of shifted over to this, still retaining that main bedroom on the first floor with the staircase that wraps around. This option allows us to add in a few of those extra little details. So we have this bathroom underneath the staircase here. Like we said, we have a nice entry mudroom space that goes directly into the kitchen with a door going out the back. So you have this really beautiful sight line going right into the property. We get all of these windows that face out towards the back, keeping our more private section here enclosed. We can actually kind of take a look at how we block this out here with our sheet. I know that we've seen kind of run-throughs of this. So let me grab a pencil here. All right, so we have our different spaces here. This is our public. And then we have our private spaces kind of tucked away into the corner, allowing the entry straight through. All right, so we have our public space here. We've got our walk-through from our entry space into the rear of the property here. And then if we wrap around right after you coming in the door here, we can go right upstairs. So it keeps this very centralized pathway wherever you want to go, whether you're going directly into the kitchen, if you're going upstairs, or if you're going into the bedroom here. This allows us to break up a lot of these different things, as well as going into the second floor, very similar. You know, we have, you can kind of keep that, nice, you can still see it. We have all of our private spaces here, with a central hallway, and then another bedroom that mimics that main bedroom on the first floor here. So we have our bedroom, bedroom, and another bedroom. Plenty of space up here. You can also, these don't have to be bedrooms, they just allow us to have different closets here, which you could make into a different office space if you wanted to. You know, we have our dedicated laundry office, but all of these things can be manipulated, changed. These plans aren't necessarily one-to-one. If you wanted to update or move or shift around a couple things, we'd be able to do that. Having these plans really gives us a base. So when a client comes to us, if you come to us and say, hey, I want a 1,800 square foot house, I can pull this plan out and I can say, hey, here's what we've already drawn up. What do you think of this option? They don't have to go with this, but this gives us a really good starting point. We could take a look at all of our spec home options on the website. We have, I think, like 12 or so of those, ranging from 800 square feet all the way up to the largest of the 1,800 here. This gives us a really good base, because if we go, sometimes when we have a client come in, they don't know what they're looking for. And this can help us jumpstart the conversation to say, all right, I'm looking for a single story, I'm looking for a 2-story. You know, this one being 2-story, we could take a look at our elevations here. So this is just the outside of that house. This takes a look at each of those spaces. Let me roll this back out. So let's take a look at the outside here. This is the rear of the building. This is our kind of public band that we were talking about. This is upstairs. This is our private wing. And we get to see how much of that is open towards the back of that property here. Similarly, with the front of the house, you know, this is the front. We'll call this the back. We have the same structure here, but this time we're breaking up. So now this is that entry space that we were looking at. And this is the main bedroom space that we're looking at. So this is going to be private space. Now you take a look at how those windows are laid out versus the rear of the property here. We have our private band up top, which you can't see directly in if you're coming in to the property here into the entry. You're not gonna be looking directly into someone's bedroom. So this allows us to push some of those more private windows off to the side here, like this one here. But on the second story, we're able to open that up a bit more. So you can get some more light in those spaces. This is the staircase here. So the staircase actually kind of aligns right here. And then we have bathroom over top of each other, and then another window into that further bedroom. Looking back at the rear of the property, we can open that up all the way, a little bit more light, a little bit more view into the rear. Whatever the property might be, this can be oriented in any direction. So if we wanted to face this out towards some beautiful tree lines, mountains, valleys, whatever what the property allowed us to do, we can kind of position this exactly the way you want to on your site. All right, taking a look at the side elevations, we have a very similar layout. This is that rear of the property here. So we have a shed roof that comes off. So this keeps a little bit of that square footage down. So instead of extending this all the way up and then making this massive gable roof, we're able to shift that form a little bit. On our 1,600 square foot option, we actually shift this over a little bit and we actually eliminate this entire form. And we shift over the shed roof. So the shed roof continues up and then we make our gable on this portion of it. It just allows us to shift around these different forms, giving us more private space, more public space, whatever the client is looking for. Again, we have more windows here on that upper level than our lower level. This is our kitchen space, and this is our entry, allowing plenty of light into that mudroom, having some cabinets off to the sides, nice bench underneath there. And then in the rear, we have our living space, our main bedroom, and then another bedroom up top and off on the side here. Each of those having options for windows, whether we make them operable or not, again, up to the client. This option here specifically has the minimum number of operable windows, so one in each bedroom, and then we only have one in the bathrooms. We don't have any other operable windows to reduce cost, especially. The more operable windows that we have, the more expensive they're gonna be. You're essentially paying for two frames when you look at it that way. A single casement window that's non-operable is just a single frame with glass, keeps that cost down, which allows us to maybe spend some more money in other places, different materials, siding, roofing, flooring, all of those different things. Here we have some basic details, just taking a look at the sections of the house. So this cuts right through our first floor with our kitchen and then coming upstairs into that bedroom. So we get 2 stories of wall here, which gives us a really good idea for how our foundation works and how it continues up to the second floor, how that connection works. And you can actually see that over here with our rim board that wraps around with all the different framing elements. This is a very basic version of this to allow us to expand on some other details that might be necessary. If we have interior elevations that we want to take a look at, like cabinetry, trim work, anything like that, where the TV goes. All that kind of stuff is something that we can work with. We also have a couple different window details. These are very minimal. A lot of our other plans, we will blow these up to be a bit bigger scale. This is only 1 inch. This is a very small format. This is our original format on a Super B sized paper, which is not common, but it's actually going to be 13 inches by 19. And now we've got our larger plotter we have for the last couple years. We're printing everything on 24 by 36. So a much bigger scale allows us to make these drawings a bit more legible. Some of this text gets lost, some of these really minute details of pitching a sill or adding different trim elements, J-channel, anything like that. It's kind of hard to see with some of these smaller drawings. So getting that bigger paper allows us to really explore different elements of that. This section here is pretty hard to see what's going on with our top plate and our bottom plate, but with some of the bigger drawings, it helps us do that. Our spec home plans will come with all of these details that we need. Anything you need for a permit set required by the town. We start with our basic option of saying, here's our floor plan. What kind of changes do you want to make? We start looking at the elevations that we had up previously with different windows, if we want to change the location or size or operability like we had mentioned. And then we start looking at some materials. All of these things allow us to really dive into these and make them custom. And you might not even end up with the exact same form. We might end up rotating some of these things, changing the gable ends. We had talked previously about the 1,500 square foot option, changing the roof. These are all different things that we can do. And we have different roof types on our website that you can actually see so that you can get an idea, just visualize what kind of house you're looking for. Also coming to the table with other ideas, whether it's from your own Pinterest board or maybe you found a YouTube video that you really like of somebody's own design, we can start incorporating that, whether it's into this or a custom from the ground up design. The Spec Home really allows us to give our base some credence here, because if we don't have the base, sometimes it's hard to visualize different things. So I can pull up this elevation here and you can say, okay, I really like the gable form, but I really don't like the shed style here. So we could just eliminate that. Maybe we bump this up and do one large gable form, and that gives us some more space, either add it into the bedrooms, maybe you make another office space. All of these things are interchangeable. You know, we don't have to go with 100% one-to-one recreations of our spec homes. You can still play with the ideas. If you did want to just stick with exactly what you got, you know, you come in, you say like 100% what you have, which is a rarity. But if you come in and you say, this is exactly what I want, all we have to do is go to the town, make sure they got all the details that they want to see, do mechanical drawings. So those things will generally change out, whether you're going to have electric, propane, or natural gas. So that will definitely inform some of those different drawings. If we have a natural gas, we might do furnace, we might do radiant systems. All of those things can change, which are different details. So really that's all you're going to be changing is those mechanical aspects. Different lighting plans, those are always going to change. We have a basic layout for this house, but you might not want to do puck lights in the bedrooms, maybe just a single center light, maybe it's just a single fan. All of those things are changeable, and we allow the client to get in, have some options with that. Just gotta wait.
Yeah.
Are we good? I know damn well if I start talking, they're gonna do something.
In there, so we're gonna hear the door slam.
All right, we'll wait. That's okay. We got plenty of storage, right, Sean?
Yeah, yeah.
My little soda pop, you're all I can think of.
What do you need? What do you need?
Just being a menace.